Welcome, Chosen One.
Hey guys, welcome to the Ace of Blaze channel, and to another Gwent video. We're playing some more Assimilate today. I switched up the deck, made some of the changes that I talked about yesterday. Took out a lot of the greed, took out a lot of some of the randomness, and just cards that didn't make sense. And the deck feels a lot better now. I had a play session earlier today. I played 7 games, I won 5 out of them. But overall the deck felt so much better, so much stronger, and I wanted to show you some of those games right now. And maybe talk you through some of the cards in the deck to help, you know, those of you who are maybe newer players who don't quite get this yet, to help you understand why this deck is my favorite deck. So first off, we're going to play against Francesca Dwarves, sorry. And the first thing that you can say about Francesca Dwarves is that, you know, we play Duchess's Informant, which is a spying unit that copies one of our opponent's bronze units. Against Francesca Dwarves, try to mulligan those if you can. Of course, Nautical Sergeants have to be mulliganed, but if you have an opportunity to mulligan more than that, then definitely mulligan those informants, because Scoia'tael, in general, and this goes for all Scoia'tael matchups, they generally play few bronzes sometimes, and like very niche bronzes. Like sometimes they have cards like Hawker Smuggler, which are pretty good pulls if you don't have more spies in your hand, because they can boost your spies, and that is negative points. But yeah, generally get rid of those spies right away. Like if we had a way to boost, we could have took a defender like that, but we don't really. And they don't play many ways to boost that we can steal. But against Francesca Dwarves in round 3, you definitely want to have your Duchess's Informants, and we'll get back to that when we get to round 3 in this match. But yeah, against Scoia'tael, Informants will often suck, and against Francesca Dwarves, you want to save them for round 3. So keep that in mind, guys. So yeah, other changes that I made to the deck. Operator is out. I took out probably the most greedy card in the game. And you know, we're now focusing more on creating copies of our opponent's units instead of creating copies of just our one Assimilate engine. And because of that, I also took out Scepter of Storms, because that was a bad card. That was a meme. I mentioned that yesterday. It's a meme, it's out. But we're now playing Tourney Shalmar, which, you know, will boost itself by 2 for every card, for every unit from our opponent's faction that we have on the board. So yeah, the focus is now more on playing our opponent's cards, playing their combos, filling our boards with their units, and then have a big Tourney Shalmar finisher. We also have Muzzle in the deck now. That's what Operator was replaced with, because it's a fantastic control tool, it's a tactic for Hefty Helga, and it puts one of our opponent's units on our board, which is great for Tourney Shalmar. And to fit in, of course, Operator's a 10, Muzzle's a 12. To fit in that, I took out Cantarella, because we have no way to set her up, like for example my mill deck does. So she's really random, and often was very bad. So she's out, and I just put in a second assassination because control is really strong. And Nilfgaard has some of the best control tools in the game. It's a tactic, so Hefty Helga gets even better. But yeah, now we are in round 3. And, you know, she's going to do the standard Francesca Dwarves thing, which is to play 4 of these Mohawken boys. Now, while I was playing, I had forgotten that they were buffed up to 4 strength, because I was thinking I was going to Swears one of them. But you can't do that. But my game plan, you know, is still stuck around. So what you want to do is you want to kill as many of them as you can. And you want to kill the ones they play on with the second Novigradian Justice, because they have 1 charge less than the other ones. So you want to kill those. And then, you know, playing sort of no unit for the first few turns, so they can't spend their charges. Inevitably they will play a dwarf, and you now have 3 charges on each, and you want to seize them. if we had had an Imperial Diviner in our hand, we could have actually unlocked this other mercenary, and that would have been really good, because our opponent is going really aggressive on the one that isn't locked to try to kill it. But see, now this is when the informants are good, because we want to replay all these dwarfs that they're playing so we can get charges off of our boy. Scoia'tael generally can be very mixed. Like, sometimes you really want to copy their units. Like, if they play smugglers, I played against an Ithne that used smugglers. You want to steal the smugglers, and sometimes they have Rawhead Dragoons to move them, but then you can steal the Rawhead Dragoon to move it back. It's generally decently valuable. But we're going to play down Hefty Helga here to try to ping off the boosts off of that Amalgam Defender, because he's really pissing me off. We're currently in possession of 3 Scoia'tael units. And of course he's going to row stack, because he probably has Great Oak, he probably has Mahakam... What's it called? The one that boosts for every dwarf on the row. But yeah, we're gonna steal another mercenary. I probably should have done that earlier, actually. Just for the extra pings. And I am row stacking as well, in case we... Actually, I have no reason to do that. It was bad of me to put that on the melee row, and you guys will see soon why. But yeah, in case of Oak, I will definitely move this informant to the back row. So we're getting a few charges, and of course we're going to ping off his dwarfs. We only got to kill one, sadly, but we're going to be able to steal one with spheres later. Next round, next turn that is. And like, just think about this. The guy with the axe. I'm really forgetting the names. But the skirmisher. They have to go on the melee row, right? And the mercenaries that we stole, they were on the melee row, so they ended up on the melee row. Spheres goes on the melee row, and he sees the dwarf from the melee row. So the only card that we could have placed on the range row there was the resurrected mercenary. But yeah, that last raid, we were doomed. Even if we had played one of the mercenaries in the back row, it wouldn't have been enough. Would have saved us 2 points to damage. But yeah, we were forced really into playing row stacking. So if you're playing against Francesca dwarfs, try to avoid it a little bit more. Because it's generally not worth it, maybe. Like, for example, I'm just going to quickly mention this before we get into talking about this game. I chose to seize the mercenaries on the melee row, right? Because they had more charges. But they were worth 1 more point each. But when the last raid came down, they lost me 2 points each. So actually, if I had seized the ones in the back, that could have saved me another 2 points. And then maybe I still wouldn't have won, but again, that's something to keep in mind. But of course, like, in case you can bribery Great Oak, or you can, get one of the guys that boost based on the row. You do want to row stack, but of course they usually run last raid as a really strong secondary target for Francesca, so row stacking generally is not a good idea. So try to avoid it, but at the same time, there's not much you can do about it. And so I guess if you're playing Francesca Dwarfs and you come up against Assimilate, play your first Nilfgaard Injustice on the melee row. Pro tip. Okay, I think this is the one I was talking about with the smugglers. So we tried to steal a smuggler. He got killed. Honestly, there's an argument for using Triss Telekinesis to get some removal for that 4-strength smuggler. But I mean, I decide to play a smuggler of my own. Get some of that sweet carryover in my own hand, which is definitely valuable as well. I don't regret the play, but considering they probably benefit more from hand boosting, it probably would have been better to try to kill it. And now there's an informant in her graveyard, so we can use a remedy to get another smuggler. And I do believe that's what I do. Yeah. Because we just want to get carryover, and of course we get 3 points every time we do this. You know, one deploy and 2 assimilates. So even with the 1 point we give them, we still play basically 6-point smugglers, which is not bad at all. But yeah, here you can see, like Scoia'tael, they have so many units that we don't want to get. So even Imperial Diplomacy struggles against Scoia'tael. And I'm watching the numbers, because someone yesterday told me to watch out for Igni. Of course, that was with the more greedy deck, with a lot of Diviners that boost themselves really high. This version of the deck is not vulnerable to Igni, really. But I was still watching out for it, because it was on my mind. Ida main is fine, 7 points. Assimilate and deploy, so 9-point play. My opponent takes the pass. I decided to go for Triss because I mean, he's played both of his smugglers, so I'm not really expecting more engines, so the removal is not really that much of a priority. And of course, Milton had a lot more carryover value on him. He's been boosted 4 times, goddammit. So yeah, we go with Triss, because I expect the removal to lose value in the future. Imperial Diplomacy is not very good either. Experimental Remedy is not very good either, because Scoia'tael doesn't have that many bronzes that we want. I guess Scoia'tael is a very niche faction when it comes to their bronzes. They definitely have some useful ones, but I mean, often you will find yourself just copying a Cleaver's Muscle, which is fine. It's not a bad card, but for us it's only a 4-point play unless we have Assimilate on the board. So we don't have that many good cards in the deck, and because we draw Roderick, we do have to mulligan either Roderick or a gold. Of course, we mulligan Roderick because we'd rather just play the gold without giving our opponent 2 points. Pro tip, right there. If we had some Assimilate units and Hengate Sword, that would have been a different matter. And more golds in the deck. Yeah. So we're just gonna play safe. Hefty Helga is always a nice proactive play, really. Something this deck definitely needs, because we have a lot of reactive plays, which has sometimes hurt a little bit, mostly against DJ. Because I played against a Dijkstra who, for the entirety of round 1, didn't play a single bronze unit. And in round 3, he only played 1 bronze unit, and that was a Witch Hunter, the guy that plays as a bounty. Yeah. I did win. I placed a lot of bounties that game, and I stole his Flying Redanian, and I briberied a Flying Redanian just as a dump because he dry passed round 2. And with all those bounties, if I could gain 9 coins, which I would have been able to do. Like, I had it set up, but he forfeited. But I had it set up, I would have gained 9 coins, and I would have gotten to get 2 Flying Redanians out of my graveyard. If he hadn't forfeited, if I'd pulled it off, it had actually happened, I probably would have showed this the game in this video, but I cut it because since I didn't pull that off, the game was very boring. There was a lot of just profiting and, you know, special cards and a couple of eavesdrops. It was a very boring game. I probably should have saved my Ardal just because, you know, now he's gonna start, in case he's able to, you know, destroy them. But we now have four Scoia'tael units on the board, and our opponent is probably very aware of Tourney Shelmar because he's gonna ping off the smuggler. And there he had a Geralt Professional, which luckily hit a Nilfgaard unit. So Tourney Joust, being able to play proactively, I'm gonna boost up my lowest Scoia'tael unit, keeping it on the board, maintaining my Scoia'taelian presence. And yeah, here we go. We won by 1 point. I wanted to show this game because it was so close. It was so close, and our opponent did play around Tourney Shelmar, but Shelmar still allowed us to win by 1 point, which is amazing. Okay, this game is against Full Test. Northern Realms. They're kind of like on the middle of the tree when it comes to the quality of copying their bronze units. Like obviously, Eternian Mauler is a decent one. Lyrian Arbalest is kind of a decent one if we end up copying a lot of their order units. I guess the same goes for Lyrian Cavalry. And I have multiple times been able to pull off some Blue Stripes Commandos, Blue Stripes Scout shenanigans. And that's decent. That's definitely decent points. So yeah, Northern Realms is like you're okay to play Informants against Northern Realms. Like they have decent enough bronze units. Sometimes they have really good ones. Here I go for the muzzle. I probably should have saved it. I think it's too overkill, but it is a 12-point muzzle because of the vitality, so it felt okay in the moment, but it's probably too expensive. I should have assassinated that guy. Because you generally want to save your muzzle for Blue Stripes, because you don't want them in their graveyard. But yeah, our control is shining through a little bit here, just destroying his engines. That's usually our primary way of just establishing points on the board. And he plays Falibor. That is a pretty high investment. I'm very okay with this. And he doesn't use tactical advantage on it, which I guess is fine because it's a very big unit. But it allows me to play low tempo, place down a Diviner, so that our future assimilation gets me an extra point, which is always nice. It's nice to have extra points. It's very nice because usually that's how you win, by having extra points. Now this Lacerate doesn't make sense to me. Like it's fine that he plays it, because Lacerate is a good card, but why? Did he just play it down there as a 2-point Lacerate? That I don't understand.
The North, Tamarica.
Okay, now I actually do understand, because he was just trying to set up that, but I actually disrupted that. I remember now. I was very happy with this play. And he doesn't use the commando stuff, so I just take the pass. Let him win a card down, but he doesn't thin out his commandos. And if he wanted to thin out his commandos, he would have gone super overkill and gone 2 cards down. Which he can definitely manage to go 2 cards down. He dry passes, he's a card down, he gets commandos, revenants. Yeah, he could probably survive that. So here I'm setting up Vigo right away because I'm not really expecting that many good bronzes to come out. Damn Sorceress is okay because it's a 5 strength unit, and if he does play shields, it's a very nice unit to have on the board for us. Definitely a proactive play. And here he zeals up his Baron. I mean, this just shows how poor of a condition this boy is in. He seals up a Baron to reset Vigo, who's boosted by 2. And sure, he gives him 2 bleed. I mean, like, Baron is such a strong card. Why is he so strong? I don't understand. But yeah, Vigo will of course survive because he's big.
Death to the enemy!
And our opponent thinned out his 1 commando. Feels pretty good. And I believe I use Ardal now, yeah. Because I really want to punish this bleed and also disrupt his commando play, and it feels pretty good to do this. Let's see, am I good to play Informant? I'm not actually good. Because of the bleed, that's... Yeah, but even without the bleed, that would have tied us. So that was probably a very bad play. But here we get a little blue stripes action, and it feels good. And we are on even cards, and you guys are about to see something beautiful. Something extraordinary? Is that what I'm trying to say? I have no idea. The portal on Oscar Sergeants in round 3 is really good. Of course, we don't get the thinning value, but it's a lot of points, and in this particular match, guys, it's very good. And we get to turn adjust this boy, which is very nice. So we're shutting down what he's trying to do. Botchling, easy kill. So right now we do have this guy under control, if you want to say that. So we're gonna go with Informant, and we're gonna take his Arbalest. Arbalest is fine. It's low strength, and of course when you Informant their Arbalest, like, they'll get their charges up before you get to use it, so it's generally very fragile. I pinged that down in case I got Vernon Roche, but we got Draug. And you know, I just took Draug because Revenants were nice, but then it hit me that Tourney Shalmar is pretty insane on this board. Because we have 7 units from our opponent's faction. And he gets a big play. He gets a big finishing play. But I mean, it's not nearly enough. Oh, 18-point Tourney Shalmar. Have you guys seen that before? If you have, let me know. Because then you have seen some spectacular shit. But that does it for this Assimilate video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, leave a like if you did, and subscribe for more content. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I had a blast. Like, today was definitely the most fun I've had playing. Not just this season. I mean, this season the standard isn't very high. But I mean, just in general. Like, even last season when I just spammed the Assimilate and had a lot of fun. Today's play session was one of the most fun sessions I've ever had in Gwent. If you have the scraps, if you have the cards to try this deck out, I highly encourage you to do so. It is such a blast, and once you start getting it under control and you're just playing your opponent's deck, it feels so good. And just a pro tip, I've been talking a lot about informants, and you know, when against Scoia'tael and Syndicate, you should mulligan them because their bronzes are very few and very niche. Against Skellige and Nilfgaard, Informant is very good because they play a lot of bronzes that are just generally good, Skellige, or really good for you, Informant. Nilfgaard. Monsters is probably close to Northern Realms, you know, just like kind of in the middle. Like, it's fine to keep maybe one. If you have Vigo, it's fine. But yeah, just keep that in mind. And pro tip, forgot to mention this, again with the Informants, someone told me in the comments yesterday that if you put premium Informants in your deck, and the Informants you create with Hengate's Sword and Artorius Vigo aren't premium, that way you can recognize in your opponent's graveyard which Informants are from your starting deck and which aren't. Because if you remedy an Informant that was created by Vigo or Hengate, that's not from your starting deck, that's an extra Assimilate trigger. So thank you so much to the person who told me that. I don't remember your name off the top of my head, and I'm not going to go look it up right now because I'm making a video. And I'm trying to end it as soon as possible. But yeah, that's just a pro tip, a really cool one at that, and gives even me a reason to play premium cards. But yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. I'm going to end this here. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again soon. So until next time, have a good one. Bye. You know what the heck? Finger guns. Because we played Assimilate.